Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast. As always, I'm Alec Caberta. That's Mike Wolfgang and Matt Morrison. No pasta salad today, Matt?
That's gone. I ate it all.
Yeah, okay. Was that during the show or after?
After.
Okay. You finished it off.
I almost got some wings out of the fridge, so don't tell me I'm hungry. I just got home from work an hour ago.
Yeah, an hour ago. Eat when you get home, man.
Well, I get off work, and it takes, 20 minutes to get home. Then I got to get cleaned up. And by that time, it's time to go to do the show. So.
Yeah, you talk about wings, talking about pasta salad. Before we get into today's topic, let's make Matt's hunger a little bit worse here. What's the best food to eat during a football game? When you're coming up, we're coming up to the
wings.
Right, you got wings. I mean, there's pizza, burgers, hot dogs.
Oh, you mean like at your house? I thought you were talking about at a game.
Yeah, I mean, why not both? At your house, at a game, at a tailgate.
At a game,
what's your go-to? What are you craving the most when you're like, it's football time, football's coming up, I need this?
Okay, let me break it down.
I have one for each sport.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for baseball, it's hot dogs all the time. Sometimes burgers, but mainly hot dogs. I put the stadium mustard on it. Football, I mean, I love wings, pizza, buffalo chicken dip. That's pretty good too. I know Alec. Alec makes some pretty darn good homemade buffalo chicken dip, man.
I do.
Yeah.
You're owning it.
I got hockey too. Hockey. I don't know. For some reason, I like a stuffed peppered sandwich for hockey. I don't know. This is what I like to eat.
All right, Mike. What are your thoughts on here? You said you were going to break it down, so break it down.
I'm going to break down. Okay, for football, I'll go. I'll do each sport like Matt did quickly. I'll do for baseball. I'll go hot dog or bratwurst. Hot dog or bratwurst.
Bratwurst.
Basketball. Normally, when I go to Cavs games, I'll get like maybe a nacho or something. So I'll say nachos for basketball. Football, yeah, I agree. It's probably wings. Okay, so if I'm sitting in my house watching a game, having a house party, wings and pizza. Tailgating's got to be burgers and hot dogs because you bring your grill and you tailgate. And at football games, I really don't get too much to eat there. I normally just get a couple drinks. So,
Permane Brothers.
I'm throwing this one out there that I think we're forgetting. It's a staple of stadium food. Soft pretzels, man.
Yeah.
Those big stadium soft pretzels. Every time I'm going to a basketball game, I want them soft pretzels.
It depends on where you go, though, because some pretzels are really, really salty.
They're either too salty or they're
knock some of that salt off. You're fine. Don't be a baby about it.
I know.
They're either too salty.
You can't even taste that stuff.
There's no reason to put all that on there. I mean, it's a waste. Ugh.
They're either too salty or they're too
dry,
dry or firm, whatever you call it. Yeah.
Y'all are whack about your soft pretzels. Give me a soft pretzel.
I love soft pretzels.
Nothing against cheese. It's going to be perfect. I don't care.
Nothing against them.
No, Mike, I'm right there with you. When you're talking tailgate food, the burgers definitely a way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, burgers use donuts as buns.
I don't, but I can get behind that.
I had it. Freaking delicious.
I've never tried it. Is it actually that good?
Yeah, it really was. I was kind of like on about it. My roommates were like, "Hey, you want to try one?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." His dad was making them on the grill, and I was eating them. I'm like, "This is so on. It's amazing." But yeah, no,
I gotta give it a try.
Perfect.
What sport would we put chicken and waffles with?
None of them.
No, that's not a sport food.
I don't know.
No, that's hockey. That's hockey.
What do you actually do for hockey?
With some maple syrup? It's got to have maple syrup.
In Canada, not in the U.S.
Hockey. It could be hockey.
In Canada.
Yeah. What about golf? Like we're talking like some crackers.
I'm not gonna lie though, wings is great for football, but best stadium food for football, if you go to Ohio State, bratwurst. The bratwurst at Ohio State in the stadium are freaking awesome.
Matt, I'll give you a simple one here, Matt. Very easy. We're talking baseball, football, and hockey. I don't think hockey. Yeah, they have it in hockey. This is just a simple one for all three sports in one city. Permane's for Pittsburgh. Every single sport.
Let's go get a big freaking sandwich.
They have a Permane. They have a Permane Brothers at the Steelers Stadium. They have
Heinz
one
Field.
at
Call
the
it
Pirates
Heinz Field.
Stadium. They have one at the Penguin Stadium.
At Cruiser Stadium.
That's why I just said Steelers Stadium.
Just call it Heinz. Don't be.
Heinz is keeping a partnership. One of the bottles is going to
so you're technically not wrong.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep it as the Heinz Red Zone, I think, or something.
They're still keeping that. other thing too. They have like in Heinz zone or something.
Yeah, it's like the Heinz red zones.
The ketchup. Remember the ketchup before it would be all over the big screen? Remember that, Matt?
Yeah. Cool.
Just wait until Nickelodeon comes to Pittsburgh. They're going to do, instead of slime, it's going to be ketchup.
That'd be good.
I'll make the slime red.
Yeah.
That'd be real good.
But let's go ahead and get in here to today's topic now that we've got Matt nice and hungry for the show. So last 10 years, we've seen some pretty great football in the NFL. We've seen a lot of great teams, a lot of great moments. I mean, we've seen epic Super Bowls, some lackluster Super Bowls. But I think when you kind of look over years and you go and you kind of break down the list, you come to the conclusion we've seen some really, really great teams. And today we're going to go through, we're going to talk about, we're going to rank them. Best 10 of the last 10 for the NFL. Even got a graphic popped up for the show today for it. Guys, so this goes from the 2012 season to the 2021 season. That is 10 years of football in the NFL. You don't have to pick one from every year. I have a couple where I have 2019. Yeah, I have two different teams picked in there, same as 2013. So when you're going through this year, these years, who in your opinion stands out the most to you guys? Who would you
got there? The New England Patriots.
As your number one, a specific year's team, not a dynasty, this was the best team of the last 10 years. Top 10 team of the last 10 years from a certain season. To me, give me that 2013 Seattle Seahawks team.
That was about
just decimated people in the postseason. I love Denver in that year, and I got Denver farther down on the list. But when you go and talk about that team in specific, and you see the dominance they had and that defense, that unprecedented in the time to hold your opponents to a combined 231 points in total for the season, only 3 losses as a unit. The dominance was unbelievable. They didn't have any big runs during the season, along undefeated streaks, but their play was phenomenal. I got that Seattle team, plus it culminated in a Super Bowl for them, and a memorable one at that. I mean, everyone remembers Seattle's beat down to Denver in that Super Bowl. So I think that Seattle team, when you really look at the last decade, that Seattle team, I don't think modern offenses are getting past that defense, and that team had a good enough offense that you would win, I think, even against the best that we've seen elsewhere. I got that Seattle Seahawks
and Alex,
2013 team.
That team too, the team you just mentioned that beat them, that they beat in the Super Bowl, that Denver Bronco team was probably outside of Seattle the second best team that year.
Peyton Manning.
They were actually that Denver team. When I put this list together, I wanted to put Denver as the best team, but they lost that Super Bowl, and that's the one thing that hurts. In the last decade, no team has put up 606 points responsible for in that last decade. This last season, the 2021 year, the top scoring team in football only put up 530. That was the Dallas Cowboys. They went 12-5. We're talking about a 13-3 team that did it in one less game and had over 70 points more in their season with one less game played. Not to mention they made it to a Super Bowl. That Denver team, I think, when you look at it on paper alone, and you kind of throw out that one matchup in the Super Bowl, Denver was the best team in that season, and Seattle a second. Postseason, Seattle took over, which is why I gave Seattle the push. But if Denver had won that title, they would without a doubt be maybe the best team of the last 20 years because of the stats that they were putting up offensively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was one heck of a team, and they didn't only win that Super Bowl. I mean, they really blew the Broncos out of the water. I mean, I can remember Percy Harvin taking the kick return all the way back. I'm like, man, like the Broncos didn't even look like they should have been there. So, yeah, I mean, That's how good they were, because the Broncos were not a bad team. Seattle made them look really bad in that game. But, I mean, I was all on board with that.
All right. Go ahead, Mike.
I think I got to agree with you with the Seahawks at 1. I'm going to put actually the year their team, I think it was the year before that, the 2012 Seahawks too. I'm going to put them at number 2. I think it was that one. Wait, I had a list earlier. It was the year before that year.
2012 Seattle was only 10-6.
There was the one after that. Then when they lost the next year. Yeah.
20. I do have the 2014 Seattle team on my list, so we'll get down to that one here in a little later. Number 2, where I was putting this together, Matt, I'm taking your Patriots selection. the 2016 New England Patriots that went 14-2, then came together and pulled off the amazing comeback and won the Super Bowl. When you talk about most memorable moments of the last 10 years, that's probably number one. And when you look at the way they played during that entire 2016 campaign, only 2 losses. It doesn't happen that much to see a level of dominance that much. Had a point differential 191 and didn't lose a single road game on the season, which might be the most impressive stat in the history of the NFL, not losing a road game.
I got to make up for myself here. They actually got a 2 on my list. I messed that up because the Seahawks, they beat the Seahawks that year in the Super Bowl. So they got it, so they're 2 in my mind.
The Seahawks are my number 1. My number 2, I like that 2016 team with the Patriots, but I think the 2018 New England Patriots has that spot there for some reason. I don't know. It was Brady's last with them, and it's a heck of a Super Bowl too. So I like that.
I didn't even have the 2018 team on my list, Matt.
I like that team.
That Patriots team was 11-5, and they lost. They had a losing record on the road.
Still got it done.
Yeah, they got it done the other day, but they don't have the numbers that compete with that 2016 team.
And again, not every team on
New England would beat the 2018 New England.
And not every team on this list has to be a Super Bowl winner either.
Right? No. But when you talk about the best of the best, when you put together a fantastic record, fantastic point differential, put up historic numbers, and then win the Super Bowl, you get a little bit more push towards that top of the list.
Right.
But my number 3 team is a team that really kind of fell apart in the postseason. The 2015 Carolina Panthers.
I was going to say that
in the 5th season under Ron Rivera, 15-1. That's the best record of the last decade. And then they fall apart in the NFC Championship game, and they don't end up making it to the Super Bowl. And it's maybe one of the biggest what ifs in football. Where would Carolina be if they finished that if they finished that 15-1 season with a Super Bowl at the end of it? I mean, 500 points for undefeated at home, 11-1 in conference play. They were phenomenal.
Matt, they
did get to one Super Bowl, didn't they?
That year they got to it. That's when they lost to the
Broncos.
Yeah.
That's the one they lost?
Super Bowl 50.
Yeah. Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good spot right there. I like that. I don't know. Let me look. How about the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles?
I think that they're on my list, but they're not that high.
I don't know. I'm not going to put them there at 3. They're down there like 6, 7. I don't know.
Who's your 3?
I'm thinking about that right now. Let me do some research.
All right. Well, how about I'll just move on to my number 4 team. I got
go to your number 4.
2019 Baltimore Ravens. I know they fell apart in the postseason. They lost in the divisional round. But that year with Lamar Jackson, that team was special. They had a really good defense, held opponents to just 282 points, had a scoring differential, highest of the last 10 years at 249, lost just once at home, once on the road. They didn't lose a game against the NFC during that season. Granted, they only played 2, so, I mean, not much to look at there. They played 4, pardon me. But I think you look in total in the body of work of that Baltimore Ravens team, just phenomenal. 531 points for, 282 against, which were 2 of the best marks we saw. Offensively, that was the highest. Defensively, it was right around the best. I think the Patriots that year had the best defense, but when you talk about a team that completely flopped in the playoffs, it was that Baltimore Ravens team. But as a unit, that when you're talking about top 10 team, I think that Baltimore team's got to be on your list somewhere. Best scoring differential of the last 10 years.
I got my number 3. How about this past year's Rams team? I'll put that as my number 3.
That's fair.
That's fair. I like that.
They didn't make my list.
It's all right.
I don't know. I didn't have them on my list. I think when you're looking at that last 10, the 12-5 record, yeah, what they did was good, but I think when you kind of look at that whole body of work and you put it against other teams, to me, it's not just winning the Super Bowl or not just having a good postseason. You have to have the whole body of work. Can you put a lot together? Can you put a good season next to a good postseason? I know that Baltimore team doesn't fit that category, but that Baltimore team had a historic number to go along with their with their playoff collapse of the best differential of the last decade, the LA Rams had a point differential of 88. They had a terrible defense this past season, and they were 5-3 at home. They went 3-3 in their own division. I can't say that they're one of the top 10 teams in the last 10 years if they can't even outright win their division.
Yeah. I got some surprises on my list too.
All right. Going down 2015. This is where, or pardon me, the number 5. I'm throwing out the 2013 Denver Broncos, who were right there next to Seattle. And if they'd beaten Seattle in that Super Bowl, I'd have them as the best team of the last 20 years. But this Denver Broncos team, the 606 points for, second best scoring differential of the last decade. And obviously, I mean, Peyton Manning, you put that quarterback on any team, they're instantly one of the best teams to touch the football field. And the numbers they put up that year to go along with a 13-3 record, that's the team I got here at my 5 spot.
Right, so
it was harder for me not to put them higher. I really wanted to, but stats kind of favored Baltimore, record favored Carolina, and championships favored Seattle and New England. I wanted Denver higher on this list, but some of the metrics didn't line up for me.
All right, so I got to recap. We're at number 5 now, right?
Yeah.
So I had the Seahawks, 2013 Seahawks at 1, 14 Patriots at 2, 15 Panthers at 3, and 13 Broncos at 4. 5, Matt, you're going to like this one. I got the 2017 Steelers on this list. That team with the killer bees, they went 13-3. I know they lost to Jacksonville in the divisional round. But the whole year, everybody was talking about 13-3, that big trio, and a good defense. Everybody was talking about the whole year. Wait till it's a collision course to an AFC Championship to play the Patriots. I know it didn't happen, but the whole year everybody was talking about the Patriots and Steelers.
That was Big Ben's last chance.
2017.
Right
okay.
That was Big Ben's last chance right there as Super Bowl.
And then it went downhill after that. But
yeah, that's my number 4.
That team was good.
That was his last good offensive season too. When you talk about it, they had one of the top leading offenses in the NFL, and they had a top tier defense. I do like that Steelers team. It's just when you look at that 2017 season, actually, there's a lot of teams on that list that I think you could give serious consideration for. I mean, the Vikings were the best team in football that year, with the best record. We're one of just a few teams that
the Saints that year too.
Early. The Saints were an 11-5 team with a point differential of 122. The Patriots, point differential of 162, number 2 team at 13-3. Philly was 13-3 with the point differential of 162. There's a lot of really great teams from that year, and that's kind of the one thing I didn't really love any group from that season. I do have one from the 2017 season, but I think when you look at all those, I mean, you got 4 teams that I think you could put on this list somewhere along the way. Especially if you were to drop it down. If you were to drop this down to the last 20, all 4 of these teams that were 11 or that were 13 wins would be on the list, no doubt. It was such an amazing year for the top of the NFL. I don't like how much the bottom kind of had a suffering because of how great that top was.
And you know what? This team's not on my list either, but that team that's the Steelers lost to Jacksonville, that's when they had Jalen Ramsey. That team was good. That was an AFC championship team. Good team, but not on this list, but that was another solid one.
That Pittsburgh team was my number 4 team. My number 5 team, I'm going to roll with I got to go to 2020 Kansas City Chiefs, honestly. That was a heck of a year for them. They finally got a Super Bowl there. And that was a good Super Bowl, too. Like
it was a Super Bowl in 19, Matt. They lost it in 20.
Oh, yeah.
20, they lost to Tampa. The year before, that's when they beat
the 49ers.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm looking at it. Oh, yeah, in 20. Yeah. Didn't I say 20?
No, they lost. The 2020 Kansas City team lost the Super Bowl. The 2019 Kansas City team.
It was the 2019 season, but the Super Bowl was in 2020. Okay, that's what I meant. My bad. But
so 19 Chiefs, right?
Yeah, the 19 Chiefs. I have them 6th on my list, Matt. So I'm right there with you. 12-4 record for that group. I love them. I don't love them. I don't really like Kansas City that much, but 6-game win streak to finish out the season. When you talk about what the record, they were looking at a 6-4 mark, and then they just skyrocketed towards the postseason. Come out, they won the games they had to. They go up and they take on the 49ers, a great defense at the time. But Kansas City had a better defense and a worse offense going into the game, which kind of sounds unbelievable when you talk about how that game went on. But Kansas City takes the win. Yeah, I have Kansas City, that 2019 team, as my 6th rated team.
They're my 6 as well, Alec, and I think the reason I'm going to use the same reason I just used for that Steelers team in 2017. They lose the year before on that controversial overtime stuff in the AFC Championship with Tom Brady and the Patriots. They come back the next year, pretty much the whole year, everybody knew they were going to go out and win it. I know there was you were on your seat in the Super Bowl because they were losing to the Niners a little bit, but that whole year, everybody had that feeling the Chiefs were going to win. So that matters, and that's why I got them at 6 and their offense too. Their offense they've done some things we never even seen before.
Yeah. My number
Sorry,
16,
I keep looking down. I'm dealing with some stuff moving.
You're okay.
Wise.
My number 6 team, I got to go to the 2020 Buffalo Bills. I mean, that was one heck of a football team. They took it all the way to the end. They did lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, but that was one hell of a year for them. That was the year that they really started, things started to twist a little bit for them. And, they were back last year, and we're going to see them years to come, I believe, so that's where it started right there. That was one hell of a team.
My number 7 team is the team that beat that 20 Bills team in that AFC Championship. I got the 20 Kansas City Chiefs. I think when you look at the 12-4 season, then going 14-2 the next year, you wouldn't think after a Super Bowl a team can improve. And they went out there and did that, undefeated on the road. They had a great defense that year, a really good offense too. And it culminated with making it into that championship game. They ended up losing it ultimately. But to me, when you look at that Kansas City Chiefs team, they were the best team in that year, best team out of the AFC. And when you look at who they had to beat to get there, they really solidified that spot for me. I got that Kansas City team at 7. So to recap mine here, I got 13 Seattle as number 1, 16 New England as number 2, 15 Carolina as 3, 19 Baltimore as 4, 13 Broncos at 5, and then 6 and 7 are the 19 and 20 Chiefs.
Okay.
Mike?
So at 7, I was kind of deciding what year because – so at 7, I have the 2014 Cowboys. That team, Matt, that you sent last night that lost on Des Bryant catch.
That's my number 7 team, man.
But hear this.
Number 7 team.
I was debating because I don't think there's enough room to put 2 Cowboy teams on here because they haven't done that much in the last 10 years. That team was good, number 1. And I was debating between putting the 2014 Cowboys or the 2016 Cowboys because that 2016 was Dak's rookie year with Zeke. They won 13 games. But to me, I went with 2014 because it actually felt like that year Dak actually do something. I know they go 13-3 that year with Dak and Zeke, and that was a better record than the 2014 team. But they were rookies, and you kind of felt like, oh, they're going to fall apart somewhere, which they did. That 2014 team actually felt like, questionable call or not, they did, but you actually felt that year they actually could have won something. Yep. It was unfortunate the ending, but it happened.
That was Romo's last chance right there to do something great. I mean, they went 12-4. They won their division. They beat the Lions, the Detroit Lions, in the wild card round. I remember that game. And then, of course, in the divisional round, lost 26-21 off of that controversial call. That's going to the grave. Des Bryant caught that. And I really think
by modern NFL rules, it is a catch. But by then NFL rules, it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. But
I don't know call aside or not, if I'm just breaking it down from roster and talent part of it. Yeah. Their offense, Tony Romo's old, but he got it done that year. I think he had I forget, but he led the league in fourth quarter comebacks that year. I know that. I don't know how much it was, but I know he led it that year. You had DeMarco Murray that year. You had Des Bryant. You had Jason Witten on your offense. And their defense was pretty good that year, too.
Yeah.
And they had the offensive line with Zach Martin as rookie that year.
I think they could have battled that Seahawks team. I don't know if they would have beat them, but that would have been one hell of an NFC championship game.
Yeah.
It was already one good one. Seahawks came all the way back within the final 10 minutes when they were down by 3 digits or 3 touchdowns. I think something like that. They did something insane, and they came back and beat the Packers. So
that Packer team was good too. So
yeah, they're on my list too. I'm just deciding what year.
All right, well, moving on to number 8 here. 3 spots left. Already 25 minutes into the show. I'm going back to that 2017 season that we talked about. You guys both threw the Steelers on that list. I'm giving it to the Super Bowl champions this year, the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason I'm putting them here and instead of one of those other 2017 teams, I think when you talk about having a great team, you have to go with depth. And to win a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback, I think that factor alone it kind of gives them an edge because when you talk about great teams, you have to have depth. How many of these other teams could we say can lose their starting quarterback in the playoffs and still win the championship? A guy who's up there in the MVP conversation. How many other teams on this list realistically could do it. Seattle, no one was behind Russ. New England, no one was behind. 2016 was Jimmy G still there, and had he moved already to the 49ers? So they might have had Jimmy G. So all right, we'll give you that one. Carolina, who was sitting behind Cam Newton at that time?
I don't know.
Was it Geno Smith?
I don't think he was there at that point. I think he was still the Jets.
So in 2015, no. 2019 Baltimore, I think their backup quarterback was Trace McSorley, basically. So that's not going to work. 2013 Denver, no one's playing at the level of Peyton. No one was sitting behind Patrick Mahomes in 1920.
Brock Osweiler could throw, man. There's that.
Brock Osweiler isn't winning a championship, though.
No, but he.
Yeah, we didn't think Nick Foles was till he did it. But he did.
New England. I remember that New England Patriots game. They played them in the snow. And Brock Osweiler came out there and did his job, man. He could. There was a time he became awful. He became really bad when he went to Houston. But there's that little time with Denver that he was good.
Okay, point still stands. In that 2013 season, Brock Osweiler is not beating that Seattle team.
Okay, we'll give you one, Matt. We'll give you one.
We'll give that one team. But no one was behind Mahomes in 19 and 20. In that Philly team, to have Nick Foles come out of nowhere.
Matt Moore was his backup. Was it Moore's backup? Matt Moore.
Who, Mahomes?
Yeah.
I know he had Chad Henne.
Chad Henne.
Chad Henne. Yeah.
I think that was 21 as well. Chad Henne stepped in.
Man.
No, I got that Philly team. I mean, that was something special to see that occurrence happen, especially after a couple years prior. You know, it happens in college football. The backup quarterback winning the whole thing.
Yeah. All right, so what spot are we on now? 8?
Yeah.
8.
I got the 2012 Baltimore Ravens on this list.
Okay.
And I know the regular season record, they were 10-6. It wasn't great. They were a wild card team that year. The 2 seasons before that, I'm reading here, they were 12-4. The 2 seasons before that season, but that season they had 2 30-point losses, which isn't great for this to put them on this list. But I like what they did in the postseason. They went on the road and beat Tom Brady, I think. Yeah, well, all those wins to get to the Super Bowl were all on the road, and they went up against a 49er team that I was thinking about putting on this list too. That 2012 49er team with Kaepernick, and they had that great defense, and he came in and turned everything around. But I like what that Ravens team did. They had that 70-yard touchdown by Jacoby Jones, that kick return. They had some great moments in that run. I got to put them on this list.
Fair.
Because of the way they did it. It was on the road. They had to do it the hard way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Matt, go ahead.
What number I'm at? I'm going to put them there too. You know, even though I can't stand them. Flacco, there was a time Joe Flacco was the man in Baltimore, and he was the man that year, and they had one hell of a defense, and you know they beat Pittsburgh that year pretty good, and you know you gotta respect that once in a while. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that team too.
Number 9. At the number 9 spot, I'm gonna throw in the 2014 Seattle team. Coming off the 2013 season, they were phenomenal. 2014. They don't quite win the whole thing, but they were one play off of it. And I think when you talk about almost dynasties, right? When you talk about almost dynasties in the NFL, I don't think you come any closer than Seattle. I mean, because after that, Legion of Boom fell apart. The offense kind of fell apart. And now, less than 10 years later, Russell Wilson is out as their quarterback from, back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. I mean, when you talk about great all-time teams, that Seattle team is up there as the biggest what if in I think NFL history. What if they win that game? What do they become?
What if? Like if they would have won, Marshawn Lynch would. I mean, he's already cemented as one of the top running backs in the NFL.
Right, but he'd be first ballot Hall of Famer.
He'd be first ballot Hall of
Famer
because he honestly single-handedly took down that Patriots team. He ran everywhere in that game. And then all they had to do was give that ball to him one more time. They knew it was going to go to him. They knew it was, so they tried to change it. It didn't matter that they knew. No one was going to stop him. Nobody.
But you know what?
And here's this, too. Malcolm Butler would not be known if he did not make that interception.
Yep.
Period.
Well, you have to give credit. That was a great read, and if you've ever seen any of the breakdowns since then on what Butler was saying, he was seeing on that play and how he read it. When you actually go inside that mind, it was a great defensive play because you had to have perfect timing to jump that route when he did, because otherwise it's an incomplete pass, and you don't know what happened on the next play. What could happen? Instead, he gets there just at the right moment. It's not pass interference which would have given the Seahawks untimed downs and a free set of downs, and he gets there perfectly to intercept that ball and end the game to win the Super Bowl. When you talk about biggest plays in the last decade, that's right up there.
Well, and you can flip it to the other side too with the Patriots side, because I know Malcolm Butler made the interception, but that you credit pretty much everybody for that because I know, Matt, you're right. The whole world probably assumed Lynch was going to get the ball. I'm sure even the whole Patriots franchise knew that too. But they were still in a position like, we're going to do this in case it's not a run. That goes to the coaching too. That goes to the whole defense. Yeah. Whoever's leading that defense making the calls.
Right there.
And whoever's the signal callers for their defense. I don't know who it was that year, but whoever's making
it was Matt Patricia, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the voice on the field that was getting alignments and calling out the plays. Yeah. I credit everybody for that too. You can make that argument for the other side.
Yeah, you could.
But that's my 9 spot. What do you guys have at 9?
9, I'll probably go with, I guess, the Eagles, because they got to be on this list somewhere. I think it's time to throw them in because the same reason you just said, Alec. You go and win a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback that pretty much never happens, and nobody was even giving him a chance before that either.
Right.
It's like, it's Nick Foles coming in. It's him versus Tom Brady. I remember the graphic that year of championship weekend. It was Tom Brady versus Blake Bortles and Case Keenum versus Nick Foles. So no matter who team was going to play the Patriots, nobody thought they were going to beat them because of that.
Yeah.
And they went out and did it.
Oof. All right, so
crazy to hear all 3 of those 4 quarterbacks in the talks of a Super Bowl. Case Keenum, Blake Bortles, and Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Especially back then. I mean, you look at those names, kind of how I scoffed at saying Brock Osweiler with the Broncos. Like, no way. Yeah, but
wait, to get on track here for a second, was Blake Bortles drafted the same year as Manziel? I think they were. Because I know Derek Carr was, but I don't know about Bortles. But I remember the year that the Browns took Manziel.
Manziel was in the 2014 draft.
Yeah. I think he was.
And yes, he was.
So I remember when the Browns took Manziel, I had a bunch of Browns friends in high school, and they're like, Manziel, this and that. I was like, Derek Carr and Blake Bortles are going to do more than Johnny Manziel did. And I was right. Blake Bortles didn't do much after that, but at least he made it an AFC championship game.
Yeah. More and more Manziel. The only thing Manziel ever made it to was the strip club.
Yeah.
He made it a couple. Yeah, the quarterbacks taken in that draft, there was Garrett Gilbert, Taj Boyd, Keith Wenning, David Fales, Zach Mettenberg, A.J. McCarron, Aaron Murray, Tom Savage, Logan Thomas, Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater, Johnny Manziel, and Blake Bortles.
The Browns are thinking about signing A.J. McCarron.
Yeah, instead we get Josh Rosen. Another bust from the same draft.
That's who that you picked up? I didn't even see that.
Yep.
You picked up Rosen?
We picked up the biggest bust from the same draft, though. We just sent our first-round quarterback.
Yeah.
Famous quote ever in NFL draft history. This 9 teams made mistakes today. Something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We'll see what the Browns end up doing for the quarterback spot this season. It should be interesting. We still don't know the terms of Deshaun Watson's suspension if he ends up with one. I believe tomorrow is the day we're expecting to hear when that comes out. So we'll see what ends up happening.
We'll see.
Matt, your 9 team?
I don't know what year it is. I'm going to put them at my 10 team so I can figure out what year. But 2014 team, Green Bay Packers. That 2014 Packers team was lit. They made it all the way to the NFC Championship. They did lose. They blew a huge lead. They had it in the bag. Aaron Rodgers was doing his thing. That could have been the year that they got one more.
Lost to the Seahawks that year.
They lost to the Seahawks. That would have been one heck of a Super Bowl too. Packers Patriots.
Yeah.
It's amazing that we've never had that matchup.
Storylines, it would have been great.
Rodgers versus Brady, we've never had it. Maybe one final huzzah this year. The improbable Green Bay with no more Devontae Adams. We'll see what Aaron Rodgers does. Aaron Rodgers showed up looking like Nick Cage in a wife beater with long hair. Did you guys see that? Him showing up to training camp today?
Yeah, I saw that.
Showed up looking like Nick Cage from Con Air.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Legendary moment. It was Keanu Reeves last Halloween. Now he's Nick Cage. Aaron Rodgers just wants to be anybody but the starting quarterback in Green Bay. Hey, when you win back-to-back MVPs, I think you can kind of show up looking however you want.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, he's beat my team twice in playoffs. I love me some Aaron Rodgers.
How could you not like, one, Green Bay, and two, Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Mike, I know they're in your division, so you kind of have to give, some. Or no, they're not in your division, but in your conference, you kind of have to give them some push. And you
I used to hate Aaron Rodgers for years. I'm finally comforting into it. Like, he's one of the old dudes. He's one of the good old boys.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what's making you comforting now.
I hated him when he came in and replaced Brett Favre. I hated him. I couldn't stand.
But I don't know what's making you comfort now. He's been pretty much a jerk the last 2 years.
Not now, but like in the recent years, he is a jerk in real life. But he's one heck of a football player, though.
Well, Matt, you've always liked quarterbacks that aren't the best in real life, but on the field they're pretty good. I believe that's historically how it goes.
Josh Allen's good off the field.
Well, yeah, but Big Ben, your quarterback for the last 20 years.
Alec, don't make the jokes now. You got a guy at your quarterback now too.
Allegations. He was cleared in court twice. Just got to throw that out there for now. Until the NFL puts something out. Innocent till proven guilty. Big Ben was proven guilty.
No comment.
Keep that in mind.
I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah,
it's a bad look. I'm not gonna lie. I won't sit here and defend.
It's pretty bad. I mean, but, man,
I gotta at least put a little bit of effort out there.
Yeah. I get it. I'm just saying.
No, I mean I've loved this Green Bay Packers team for a while. So no, I like Aaron Rodgers. I liked this team a long time ago when it was Clay Matthews and AJ Hawk as the two main linebackers.
Yeah,
that was my Green Bay team. I think my first NFL jersey might have been a Green Bay Packers one. AJ Hawk's Green Bay Packer jersey. I had a Browns jersey, but at the time there really wasn't much to pick from because it was, do you really want to get a jersey? Because I think the one I might have had was Brady Quinn. What was the Browns jersey I had? That might have been my first one. But
my first one was a Troy Polamalu jersey. My second one was Brett Favre, Minnesota.
You guys had a lot better options going on with your team.
Yeah, I had better options, but you know who my first jersey was?
Who?
You're never gonna guess it.
Michael
Probably not.
Dallas Cowboys. They never wore them, but they had like special like silver jerseys.
Yeah.
You remember Roy Williams, Matt?
Yeah.
That was my first jersey. And my second one was a Larry Fitzgerald Cardinal jersey because I love Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah. Mine was Minnesota Vikings, Brett Favre. I still got it.
You didn't get the Jets one?
No, God, no.
Hey, I don't have those
teams to what? One final spot on this list. We've been
but speaking about the Jets, though,
number 10.
I don't have the Jets on my list, but
right here, man. Woo!
That 2010 and 2011 teams the Jets had.
Well, that's over the last 10 years, guys.
I'm just saying.
How about that Vikings team in 2009? All right.
Yeah, I know they're not eligible for the list, but them teams were good.
Speaking of the Vikings, I got the 2017 Minnesota Vikings on my list here. Minnesota Miracle, man. Woo! One heck of a team that was. Huh?
Love that play. I
love that. Yeah. I love that. Just Stephon Diggs, played it all the way through. They had a good year that year too. 13-3. They did get they got beat by the Eagles that year, but that was one sick team, and Case Keenum just came out. He was pretty much a backup. So he was a backup. He's a backup. Yeah. So
backup to Cousins, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins was a career backup too. So before that Washington he was. So.
Well, my 10th spot, I'm going with the next year, guys. 2018, a team that got blown out of a Super Bowl. They should have been in it. the New Orleans Saints in that
Oh,
2018 season.
Yeah.
Gets on the worst blown call, arguably the worst blown call in postseason history. I'll leave you up there for Des Bryant's mic. But one of the worst blown calls in postseason history. The most blatant pass interference of all time, not getting called. New Orleans Saints lose the game. Rams go to the Super Bowl and put up the biggest dud of the last 10 years in Super Bowl history in a 13-3 shellacking that
Saints
overall
beat the
it was
Patriots.
fine, but the Saints would have won that year. I think
They
in my
would've.
opinion, if they had gone to that Super Bowl. The offense was better. The defense was about on par between the two teams. New Orleans should have won that game. I mean, I always say take it out of the hands of the refs. Don't make it a close game in the end. But when you're talking about huge conversations, obviously Drew Brees is a guaranteed Hall of Famer at this point. But you put a Super Bowl championship onto his resume in that stage of his career. I mean, you put him up there in the conversation of he really finally emerges as one of those all-time greats at the quarterback position. He already is with the records, but you put a Super Bowl this late in his career, he gets put up to the next echelon of guys.
You know, I put most of these quarterbacks over Big Ben, but Big Ben got like 2 Super Bowls, and these guys, Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, only had 1. I'm like, what the heck? How did Ben? Clearly, Brees and Rodgers are better than Ben Roethlisberger, but
well,
Big
Pittsburgh knows how to build
the
the team a little bit better than New Orleans and Green Bay. That's the reason.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Matt, we've talked about it. Pittsburgh might have, even before Mike Tomlin stuff, before that, no losing seasons, even before him with Coward, they just don't have. They might have down seasons where they don't make the playoffs, but they don't have losing seasons. They don't rebuild. They retool. They just don't. They never strip things down.
Nope.
That's why Ben had that more opportunities. Because the Seahawks, or for a couple of years, the Saints were bad with Drew Brees. Before they got good again.
Yep.
So.
All right.
Am I the last one?
Yeah, I believe so.
I was gonna throw that team in there too, Alec, and I don't think you're wrong. I just ran out of spaces. I'm gonna go different here. I'm gonna go 2015 Cardinals. Because that team was 13-3. That probably was Carson Palmer's last. Not only was his last good season, but that was probably his best season. He could have been an MVP that year, and you know they were really good that year. I think they lost to the who won the Super Bowl that year? Yeah, Panthers. They lost, but other than that, they were my favorite. I was picking them out of the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. And that was Larry Fitzgerald's last really good year. That team was old. But that team had a top 10 defense as well. And I'm reading some stats too about them. They were older, but they got it done. 13-3, top 10 defense, 2 MVP candidates that year. I think Larry Fitzgerald probably was an MVP candidate too that year. So I'm going to go 2015 Cardinals, my last team.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw in an honorable mention here at the end of it. They didn't make my list. I ran out of space. I got 2 of them. I got one of them. The 2021 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
When you look at that team, I mean, oh, man, they had a lot to like. And you talk about, hey, maybe if Antonio Brown doesn't have his fit late in the year, they had a couple of problems down the final stretch. They come up just short. But I think you look at that team falling apart in the divisional round. They had no business losing in that spot. Tom Brady and Gronk probably should have had another title going that year. That team was phenomenal. 511 points, point differential 158. 13-4. They were great at home, 7-1. Struggled a little bit more on the road, but when you played as well as they did with the Hall of Fame quarterback, you're gonna find yourself up into a top 20 if any list of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you can even throw 2021 Cowboys up there as an honorable mention right behind them because the offense that year was the best offense in all of football, but the defense fell apart.
Well,
which normally isn't the case for Dallas.
I was going to go honorable mention the play calling messing it up, not necessarily the players. It's just it's the Dallas Cowboys can't get out of their own way. But I was probably going to go them as honorable mention too as well. And I was maybe even thinking about throwing that 2016 team in that I was talking about. That was Dak's rookie year. But if this isn't eligible for the list. But if we were back like 5 more years, Matt, good team I got to mention out that from the start of the 2010s till now. That 2010 Steelers team,
hell yeah,
that lost the Super Bowl. That team had the number 1 defense the entire year. Ben missed 4 games, and Charlie Batch and Dennis Dixon
Dennis
won games from them.
He went to Oregon, man. He was pretty good. He came in and did a job.
When we were talking about making lists for like this, I was thinking it would be back to. I was actually they were going to be up near the top of my list at 20. I know they lost Super Bowl to the Packers, but that team was loaded.
Pissed. I was crying. But yeah, it was one heck of a team. But Rodgers came out. I mean, Clay Matthews was on that year. Clay Matthews was a sick defense player. Where the heck is Clay Matthews?
He retired, I think.
Retired,
man. Didn't he have a little stint with the Rams?
Yeah, not long.
Yeah.
I think it was somebody else too. At the end.
His final year, he played with the Rams in 2019, but he was at Green Bay from 2009 to 2018.
Yeah.
All
you got
right.
any other ones, Matt? Honorable mentions?
No.
That was a good list.
That was a good list.
Yeah. No, I think it's something to look at. The week goes on, we get farther along. Well, I think we'll venture out to a couple other sports. I think NFL is an easy one to look at. Everyone's got similar schedules, similar things. I think college football is where it might get interesting, though. I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it.
Well,
Yeah.
like I've said a couple other times, I think if we ever do basketball, that'll probably be easier to do because football, like, again, it's not always teams that win the Super Bowl in football because we've had teams like wildcard teams, like I said, the Ravens. Nobody picked them to win that year. Even in baseball, Matt, nobody picked the Braves to win last year. Nobody picked them to make the playoffs through August.
They won 88 games.
That's why these two lists are hard to put together. And even college football might be a little difficult too, but they're all hard, but in their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I'm right there on it. Well, I was hoping that gave us another 10 minutes on the show. But Matt, you haven't been on a ton. What do you got sports wise?
I mean,
that you want to talk about?
I'm gonna give out Beast of the Week.
Oh,
as I did yesterday. I'm gonna go Chase Elliott. The guy didn't even lead one lap the other day, and he won the race.
Yeah, and Meathead of the Week might go to number 1 and number 2 that lost it.
Yeah, like that's the last time somebody got disqualified at the end of the race. That has not happened at all.
Yeah, I know. We don't, especially not
drivers that got
you see farther down the line. You see disqualifications here and there, but never at the top.
Never.
Especially not twice. The top 2 guys.
Yeah,
they happen to be teammates. It's not a good look for racing.
How about MLB trade deadline right around the corner here? I mean, Juan Soto's the big name that's gonna.
Oh, we haven't talked about that yet. Yeah, it's a big story.
Out the door. How about the Cleveland here? I mean, we have. I think the guys to move. I don't know. Maybe Austin Hedges because I mean we have Bo Naylor, top catching prospect, but who's gonna teach him? Who's gonna be there to help him out? So I think
first of all, Hedges can't stay healthy
right away, and I think Hedges. Who's gonna instruct him?
Who's gonna take Hedges though? I mean, as Mike was saying, he can't stay healthy. Who's going to give up anything to get an unhealthy catcher? That's maybe the most important position in baseball. You need to have him healthy. Without a good catcher, you have a bad.
If you do anything, it's not going to be too expensive. I say trade Brian Shaw or whatever. Do it now because he's horrible.
Well, who's going to want him? If he's terrible, who's going to want him?
I don't know. The Pirates.
The Pirates get rid of good players. They don't bring in bad players. They get rid of good players.
They just bring up bad players every now and then. Mixed in with good ones.
The Reds.
The Reds also let really good players go.
I'm sorry. The only thing you might get for either one of those guys is maybe a guy that's like near the line of getting to the major leagues, making his debut, or you're just going to cash considerations because there's not really much value there.
I think cash consideration is probably what
How about this though?
Shaw goes for.
Which
They probably won't move him. We've seen Cleveland, that organization, they love Brian Shaw. They won't move him. They moved him just to bring him back earlier on.
Like 5 times.
Right. They want Brian Shaw in that organization, and I don't know why.
How about this, though? How about Juan Soto to the Padres, maybe?
Just please don't
be. Maybe you definitely have to add like a Mackenzie Gore in that trade, which I like Mackenzie Gore with the Padres, but I mean, to add Juan Soto in there with Tatis Jr. and as well as Manny Machado, that'd be sick.
Well, and if you're the Padres, they might have to do the same type of thing as they did last year. They packaged up Trey Turner with Max Scherzer. You might even see them try to package up Soto with like a Patrick Corbin or somebody.
Yeah.
When these veterans that they're paying money, they're just trying to get off their hands. So if you're a team like that, you could potentially get another arm too for the stretch run.
Hey, Matt, I think you might like this one. Sports Illustrated put this article out just a little bit earlier today, talking about potential trade destinations for Juan Soto. On a short list is Cleveland. Juan Soto to Cleveland, potentially. The other one, which is the way I was going to go with it.
Who would be put in that package?
I don't know who Cleveland put in. We have a lot of young guys, and that's who they would move. More than likely. We're not going to send away our all-stars. But I think we have a lot of young guys with high potential, especially in the farm system. We'd give up probably to go along with a higher quality guy. Probably not somebody that was in the all-star event. I hope.
Matt, Fremont Reyes from Juan Soto. Come on.
I just don't like him.
Plus a first, second, third, fourth, fifth round pick.
No, but for Juan Soto,
can we include him? No.
But I like the Tampa Bay. I mean, I think if Tampa was to add a guy like Soto, I don't know what they'd have to give up to get it. But if Tampa wants to get this wild card spot and hold on to it and take this AL East and, make that fight to go up against the Yankees, I think they need somebody of Soto's caliber. They need a star offensive player. They have great pitching. They have pitching that I think on any given day has the chance to rival the Yankees, but they don't have the offensive production. Adding Soto would be huge. But can I just point out, there are two teams in baseball that are miles ahead of everybody, and it's the Yankees and the Dodgers. It's disgusting how far ahead they are of everybody right now. Dodgers, especially when you look at differential, Dodgers have a run differential of 178. Next closest team below them is Houston at 107, and that's where a lot of the best teams are, the kind of 80 to 100 mark. Then there's the Yankees, a run differential currently of 200. With still 2 months to go. They might finish the season with a run differential of 300 or higher, which is insane to look at. Last year, the number one team in baseball, Dodgers, or actually I guess they were number two, had a run differential of 269 at the end of the year. I don't think that's that far off to say that the Yankees can hit that mark. And by the end of the year, I think they can easily surpass that. And then, you go back to the 2019 season, and the top run getters were 280 was Houston. Dodgers were 273. I think the Yankees are getting to 300.
Wait, I got two things on the Yankees.
Go for it.
Number one, this may actually be one of the best, if not the best Yankee teams we've seen ever.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of the way. Some of the stats, you just ran through the run differential. I've seen some other numbers too, Alec. This could be the best Yankee team ever. We'll see what they do in the playoffs. But I saw a list. I don't think I sent it in the group chat yesterday, but I saw a list of like the top 10 World Series favorites right now. Yankees are one. I think the Dodgers are two. I forget who's number three, but the Astros are at four. If it's me right now, I probably have the Astros ahead of the Yankees because they've shown.
I do too.
Yankees have not beaten them once this year. I don't know why. It's because of the cheating stuff. I know it is because if it wasn't for that cheating stuff, they're getting no attention right now because of that. The Astros you can make an argument they're the best team in baseball right now.
Well, no media wants to talk Astros because as soon as you bring up the Astros, all the comments are flooded and replies are flooded with, the cheaters are back at it again.
But the thing is, and if you want to put the Yankees at one, that's fine. Yeah. But do not have the Astros at four. The Astros are definitely above the Dodgers, I think.
Yeah.
I
think so too. Listen, I can't stand Houston. I couldn't stand them before the cheating. Like I can't stand Verlander. Verlander might win Cy Young this year. He might.
That team does not get the credit they deserve at all.
Yeah,
even last year they didn't either.
I mentioned
and they went to
them
the World
several
Series
times on other shows. Like Houston might get back. Houston might win it this year. They might. They were in the World Series last year. They were there.
And nobody talked about it.
Nobody talked about it.
And the thing is, I know there's some guys there that from that team, like Altuve and Bregman and Verlander, still there. But look at all these guys I brought up that had nothing to do with the cheating, and they're still producing.
Yeah, Yordan
Alvarez, like Kyle Tucker. Those guys weren't there when they cheated.
Nope.
This team actually, Yankees. This might be the best Yankee team ever, and you can even say through this run that the Astros have had the last 5 years, this might be their best team, I think.
Did you see the guy that made over $400 million in bets on the Astros to win the World Series?
It's a good bet.
$2 million. He went to Vegas, put $2 million on him there, and he went somewhere else and put $2 million on him there.
I wouldn't put that much money on it, but it's a good bet to bet.
I would never put that much money on sports.
No, never. I'd put
What?
$1. Put $1 on there.
Yeah, with that you would get like $2.
If I had the money, if I had unlimited amounts of money that I could go throw around, I don't think I'd ever put more than 1,000 down. If I'm feeling,
I wouldn't either.
If I'm feeling confident, like super confident about a specific pick, I don't think I ever go higher than 1,000 on it. But realistically, I'm not going higher than 500.
Yeah.
Now, other teams.
But in my current monetary state, I'm not going more than $5.
Other teams, I think that should jump in on this trade deadline. Chicago White Sox, man, they need help in their bullpen.
I think they should tear it down.
Huh?
They should tear it down. I think they should start.
I'm with Mike. I think it's a rebuild.
Yeah. Now,
here's you look at this AL Central. We got a lot of crap. Chicago spent a lot of money to be mediocre this year. I think it's sell for Chicago.
Here's a crazy one now.
A lot of people are going to get some White Sox.
Yeah. Now here's a crazy one. Don't come at me because I don't want this to happen here. But do the Angels actually trade Ohtani or trade to build around him? Because if they trade him, you know how many draft picks or other players they could bring in? I'd say send Trout with him. Like, it's not a stupid idea.
Oh, can you imagine a return for that? Jesus.
No one can afford that.
Not a stupid idea.
Not a stupid idea, but it's the same problem we're seeing in the NBA. Nobody can afford that. You can't afford that in baseball.
It's kind of like the Herschel Walker trade a little bit.
No, it's like the Kevin Durant trade. It's unprecedented. We don't know what that would look like, and I don't think anybody would be able to afford it.
They need to trade to get around him though. Especially, Noah Syndergaard, the guy is.
No, the thing the Angels need to do is they keep overspending for guys that they shouldn't be paying this much money for. They overspent for Anthony Rendon. Now they're in a hole because of that. They overspent for the old one slipped my mind too, but they spend recklessly. That's a problem.
Yeah,
they do. They do.
Well,
something's gonna happen.
We'll talk more about it as the week goes on, guys, though, because we are just about out of time here on the Casual Sports Podcast. As always, I'm Alec Cabrera. That's Matt Morrison, Mike Wolfgang. Football just around the corner. Power Hour, though, up next here on your sports network. Make sure you tune into that. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow on the Casual Sports Podcast on your sports network.